I heard a word the other day that has been locked in my mind since I heard it. And when I take you through it, it's going to be locked in your mind too. I was lucky enough to have a call with Eric Johnson of Aurora WDC. If you don't know who he is, you should stop watching this and Google it. And any talk that he's given or anything he's written, you should consume that instead of this. It's more valuable. We were talking about something he's working on as well as something I'm working on. And we came to this conclusion that most businesses fail because of a loss of focus. Think about that. Now, in his world, business strategy, consulting world, he's thinking about hardcore business alignment based on data, market, customers, competitors, five forces, all that stuff, and beyond. He's way out there. In the brand strategy world, we're thinking about how can we better reach customers? How can we better communicate to customers? What kind of consistency can we present to customers? In my new book, Specific, I'm totally circling this topic. And when he said businesses die because of a loss of focus, it crystallized it for me. I've actually been going back through the book and making sure that I'm nailing that point. That's the entire thing. I saw an ad for Dove soap. It was in the feed of Vice. It was served to me on Twitter. So Dove soap for men put into the Vice media machine and put into the context of Vice and using their language and showing pictures of dads with kids, and then on top of that served in Twitter, in my feed. And I just thought, this doesn't make sense to anybody. Nobody could look at this and go, oh yeah. That's a lack of focus. That's 100% a lack of focus. That's somebody saying, well, we need to reach men and Vice has men. But the idea that you could have Dove soap served by Vice, which is not Dove soap. Those two things don't go together, is a lack of focus. And then to serve it to me on Twitter, which is it's almost as cynical as it gets in terms of platforms, of a place for people just to clap it back and volley it back. Those kinds of loss of focus in the customer arena and a lack of awareness where you're just trying to buy the impression, I could totally get on board that. If you want to run ads during Vice programming, that's on Vice TV or however they're selling ads, I get it. But to have it presented by Vice as a promoted post made it feel way wrong. I'm also seeing The Grinch everywhere right now as we're getting into Christmas season and the new Grinch movies come out. And they've essentially done the same thing. What can we sponsor? Put this Grinch character on to get impressions. And so they had him on ESPN, which is funny because The Grinch is created by Illumination Studios, not Disney. And ESPN, obviously, parent company is Disney. So I'm surprised they went for this. I wonder if there was a premium they had to pay. But it was the Grinch calling athletes and giving them bad advice or being mean to them or whatever the Grinch does. I thought, this doesn't make sense. I guess they're trying to reach dads and trying to reach young kids that are watching ESPN. Then they did a takeover of Honda. They put the Grinch in Honda TV commercials and on Honda's Twitter channel. The Grinch is taking over. And it doesn't feel like anything. It doesn't feel like it makes sense. It doesn't feel like it's adding up to anything. It's just buying the impression. Now, maybe for the Grinch, that's fine because the way films work and the way film marketing works, they've got a week and a half to sell as many tickets as they can. And then after that, it's just all a math problem. If they make X in the first weekend, then they get a fraction of X the rest of the way, and they go back to their investors and they tell them what they produced. But for Honda, what are you doing? You're just taking that money as media money and saying, hey, this is a new source of revenue. The ads don't even have anything to do with Honda. It's just like, we bought this TV commercial and we're going to stick the Grinch in it. Customers get confused, and they get confused easily because they don't care enough about your product. We think that they care about brands, but people don't. So an ad for Dove soap being served by Vice on their Twitter channel is so confusing to me, and I care so little about Dove for Men and any soap, to be honest with you, that I can essentially rule it out. I could be so confused that I could just go, I'm not going to waste any time trying to think about this. And of course, obviously, I have for the purposes of this and the book I'm writing. For Honda, you have to work hard to get those impressions. Yes, Honda has a huge unaided awareness, and it has probably high affinity and preference, consumer preference. That's fine, but don't piss it away by just throwing the Grinch in there and burning TRPs against putting a cartoon in there. It doesn't even pay off a benefit of the car. It doesn't even pay off, or it doesn't reinforce anything about the car. I bet, and I haven't done the survey, so I should tread lightly here, but I bet you if you surveyed people, they would remember the Grinch part, but not the Honda part. I hope you got a lot of cash for that. That kind of lack of focus is what causes brands to slide. People don't have a lot of time. You follow the Ehrenberg-Bass model and believe in mental availability. I do. Then we can't confound those messages. We can't make it confusing. We can't make it tricky. We can't make it a puzzle to solve unless that's what the thing we're selling, which cars are not. They're not a puzzle to be solved. Soap is not a puzzle to be solved. Make it easy for me to understand it. Make it hard for me to get confused. Give me less things to have questions about, like, why is Vice serving this ad for Dove? These two things don't make any sense. Why wouldn't Dove just do the promoted post? I don't follow Vice. What the fuck? What's going on? Think about loss of focus as you're planning your next project and how tightly you can wind it so that everything hits and makes sense and reinforces one message for one customer who will absolutely understand it and get it. And no whiny prick like me will be on YouTube complaining about it.